Do you never watch Fish Addictions TV?
No.
So I'm a killer, Thor.
That's what I meant. I'm not. Jim and I have only kissed.
We all hope to have the bush at some point in our life, whether it's on the water or not.
Intense.
Like a goddamn circus fire.
And now, coming at you live from the Fish Addiction Studio, your hosts, Mike Olson and Thor Skoy, with Fish Addictions, The Real Talk.
Thor, it's been 6 months almost since we've done the podcast itself, and I've kind of been excited to get back to it. But watching that, like, man, like this gray just keeps spreading. But I do have to admit, there was one point last year where I did kind of hair.
You did dye it.
I did dye it for a while, but
I have pictures
look
of
at
it.
this thing. Like last year it was here, now it's here. I don't know if that's because of everything that's gone on, or I'm just getting that old, or exactly what's going on.
I think it's just a sign of something new to come. And we have all sorts of new things going this year for Fish Addictions.
I mean, every year we change things up. We do things a little bit different. We keep the Fish Addiction style, but we run a different program every single year. You know,
Mike drove 6 hours yesterday in somebody else's truck.
Yes, I did.
I don't know if we're spilling the beans on why yet, but
I picked up a pickup camper
for a long box. He's going to take the topper off, folks. And Griswold across the Midwest in a pickup camper.
Well, here's the deal. Like, we've went rogue all over. We've, last year with the big bite.
Yep.
And so we're changing it up a little bit more this year. If you're interested in a nice house, we've got one for sale.
We do have one for sale.
It's an awesome house.
And this will come out before deer season. It'd make a great mobile deer camp.
Absolutely.
Fit a four-wheeler in it.
But I'm okay with telling people what the plan is. So our plan is to travel with no boundaries, right? And the pickup camper is going to allow that, I think. Although I got in it last night and imagined myself and you and one other guy sleeping in there, and it was not cool.
Well, yeah, but we've got other future plans that will help create some extra space for us while we're on the road that we'll get into later, because that's going to be its own video. Yeah.
And, I think we're going to start this first podcast off with a special guest. And I mean special guest because we took a whole year off. We spent a lot of time representing 13 Fishing brand, and we parted ways last year, which is the things that happened. But we took a whole year off, and we went and we explored and
tested a lot of products.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited to make this announcement, actually. And one of my good friends that fished the National Walleye Tour, and known him for quite a few years now, Aaron Templin, is with us. And if you guys didn't know, if you guys remember back last year, yeah, we can bring Aaron on. I'll explain this. If you guys remember, we kind of took a year off of doing anything with any company because we hadn't fished with anything other than 13 for a long time. Welcome to the show. And Aaron's with us. But anyways, like I said, it was kind of one of those come to Jesus moments for me, because I had a lot of different rods in my hand, and one stuck out that I thought above and beyond the rest. And partially because of this guy right here. We want to welcome to the show Aaron Templin. Aaron, tell people a little bit about you. We're not going to go a lot about Aaron because guess what? People don't really care about us so much. They care about the stuff we represent. So,
right, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. For one, hopefully it's not too echoey. Obviously, I'm locked in my little office here. But I'm Aaron Templin. Obviously, yeah, we fished the National Walleye Tour together. I actually work for and I'm a partner now with Two Brothers Innovations. So if anybody knows who Two Brothers Innovations is, I'm sure you've seen it now. That's Elliot Fishing Rods, 2B Fishing. That's our two core brands. Two Brothers Innovations is Paul and Greg Thorne. So legendary rod builders. They started Thorne Brothers. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that store and understand the custom rod market and a lot of the cool innovation that's come out of there. as well as a lot of different things in the fishing industry. Actually, Paul was just inducted into the Minnesota Fishing Hall of Fame here, 2 weeks ago. So a lot of very cool things, a lot of rich history, and they have come back together. Two Brothers Innovations is the new company. We started in 2018 underneath the new brand, and brought out Elliot fishing rods, and then brought out 2B Fishing right after that, and here we are today.
So is there a distinct difference between the two, or what's the 2B Fishing Elliot distinction?
I mean, there's quite a bit of differences. Elliot's our premier brand. Not to say that 2B is not the premier brand, because both of them complement each other so well. 2B is mainly a lot of our everyday dudes fishing rod company, where Elliot is for, I don't want to say the next tier, because it's not. It's just there's a little bit more crispness to it, if that makes sense. It's a rod brand that we have a ton of passion into, as well as 2B. It's just we brought out two, wanted to bring out two, and we do certain things with each one, and I think it fits a mold that everybody's looking for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think, fishing both rods, Elliot, I find if you're a real precise and you're looking for something exact in a fishing rod, you might be able to find it in the Elliot brand. Not that 2B doesn't have something that will fit your needs, but that Correct. 2B is more of your universal rod, I would say.
Right, absolutely. And that's the thing, Mike. I get asked that question, I bet you, every time I stop in anywhere, any sports show that I go to, and everybody asks what the difference is. And it's really, you got to look within them to find out what you're looking for, because they all have the unique little features and benefits. And it's weird that they're not underneath the same, like it's not everything's an Elliot. And we kind of did that on purpose, because people are going to find what they like in that brand, and then they're going to run with it. And when we originally started, my boat was filled with Elliots. I mean, I fished Elliot long before I ever worked for Paul and Greg, and fell in love with the brand, fell in love with the rods, kept ordering them. Greg was pumping them out. They were unbelievable. And now I find myself, I have a 50-50 mix in my boat. I've got 2Bs that I absolutely love, and I've got Elliots that I absolutely love, and it's truly 50-50 laying on my deck of my boat.
Well, I think it's really cool, Aaron, that you guys are representing this brand, because what a lot of people probably do know that know you, but maybe that don't, is that you three, the guys that are involved most in this brand, are diehard fishermen. And I know this because Aaron used to fish National Walleye Tour, and I know it's something you love to do, but you kind of took that passion and put it all into these rods, which I think is really cool and says a lot. Tell people about that. Like, you not only walleye tour, the walleye tour, you did muskie fishing, you did everything like that, and how it's come full circle into what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that was the thing, right? Like a little history on myself. I was a fish nut for forever. I actually started out in the professional muskie circuit, the PMTT, and that's what I did. Muskies were my passion. That's all I cared about. And I fished them babies until I could no longer stand the thought of watching another one follow and not eat my bait. So I did that for years, right? And then I also did bass fishing and did ice fishing and would crappie fish like a lunatic and everything else. And then I got into the walleye side, and that's where you ran into me on the National Walleye Tour and things like that. And I fished other small circuits, and that truthfully shows, I mean, it's just been a passion ever since I was a little kid. And what's wild is me and Paul and Greg, we talk about it all the time. Different era, same path. Like we've all done the same thing. Greg and Paul, both very well accomplished anglers. They're fish nuts just like I was. And it's weird. You've got the two original guys that did all these things, and then this young gun that came in, and being able to blend all that together and mash it up has really been fun.
Well, it's kind of cool to see a brand come out of such passion. And you guys are located right in Bemidji, Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Which I think is an important thing too. You're local, you're up here. You guys are a brand that is building yourself right out of this area, and you're not only ice fishing, which we'll be using you guys' stuff primarily ice fishing, but you have the open water, the muskies, the walleyes. You have a pretty much for any rod lineup for any fisherman, right?
Right, no doubt, and that's the fun part. It's a full lineup, and that's what's unique about the brands, and that's what's been fun about with Paul and Greg bringing something to the marketplace is they know it inside and out. We always go into different breakdowns in rods and things like that. You'll hear Greg say, "Well, we did it this way in 1984," and you're like, "Well, it's still being done the same way." And oh yeah, yep. And it's crazy. And listening to their stories, and I wish they were here to tell some of their stories because I love listening to them about their start and how they started in a little storage area above Capras down in the cities and taught people how to build rods. And then now I run into other rod guys in the industry, and they learned it from guys that Paul and Greg taught it to. And so then that guy learned it, then he taught the next generation. It's just so wide branched of what has happened. And it's that rich history that I speak about. It's really kind of a fun, cool thing. And then we talk about the vastness in the lines, panfish all the way up to muskie, and you have all of it because Greg and Paul have built it forever.
Yeah, and if the listeners haven't caught on yet, this year Fish Addictions will be running the 2B and Elliot brands, and it fits our style because we're fishing something different every week, whether it's crappies or bluegills or lake trout or walleyes or pike. And what's important is knowing that you guys have the well-rounded supplies, the rods that you need to fish any species at any time, and that's one reason that I was so drawn to the brand to begin with. It's just you had something for everybody, and I think that's really cool. Tell guys like what you would suggest, because that's going to be the question we get. Let's run down the list, like crappies, walleyes, pike, lake trout. What do you guys have, and what set your rods apart in each division? Because there's tons of panfish rods out there, and everybody has their little niche. Walleye rods, you have rods for the hard baits and all that kind of stuff I know, but maybe not the people that are watching know.
Shoot, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, you can break it down all the way through. I don't know where you want me to start with that, Mike.
Let's go with panfish. I mean, panfish is something when you're sitting on the ice, I would say there's more pan fishermen between perch, crappies, bluegills than anybody.
Yeah.
And those are some of my favorite rods of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2B and in Elliot, 2B, we've got a really awesome panfish setup. You've got everything from your fiberglass noodles, even up into your graphite light rods. So like the little nude, big nude for fiberglass. Then we've got another series under there called the Select Series, and I'm talking 2B fishing at this point. So then the Select Series, you have the Ultimate Nude, which then carries the line even farther. You get longer length, little different action. And then you go over to Elliot, and we've got different, even crazier fiberglass, then into a spring bobber rod. And then we've got our big line that I absolutely love, and that's the Evolution Series. And that's what people have really kind of caught on to also. And you're talking 42 to 45 inch rods. And there's panfish in that lineup too. We've got an ultralight and a brand new noodle that just released. That is going to be really wild. And if you guys haven't seen the trend yet, longer is phenomenal to fish with. And that's been really the crazy thing that we've been seeing is how many people have been attaching to it. They buy one, they go out, they find out that hole hopping is so much more fun with a long rod. You're talking 45 inches. And whether you're bluegill fishing, crappie fishing, doing whatever, that long rod performs. I mean, I lose way less fish on it. It's been really wild.
And it saves your knees.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
No doubt.
Well,
I'm 6'4". I don't like kneeling down next to any hole.
I can remember ice fishing competitively years ago, and we used to use the shortest rods possible. So we were straight over the hole. And that was just, we just thought it was the right way to do it. As like you said, as years go on and ice fishing conforms, or the products conform to us, and now we're moving, and we're, when we realized real quick that getting down and up and down and up and down and up, especially as we're getting older, and like you said, we're not small people. Most ice fishermen aren't small people.
No.
And we've got a lot of gear on. We've got things to carry around with us. I mean, and as time goes on, these longer rods, you're seeing more and more and more of them. And it's crazy because I was just talking with a buddy of mine the other day where we were literally using 20-inch rods consistently, and now we're 40+ inch rods on a consistent basis. I don't know that I don't know
my
that
20-inch
I fish.
rods just have dust on them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I really fish any short rods hardly anymore,
Right.
unless it's a sight fishing type deal.
So then,
Yeah, or I mean, yeah, that's just it. Or fishing in a smaller confined house. Maybe it's really cold. I mean, each have their application.
Yes.
I have all of them, but the long rods, you get the right day for it, and outside with them, and it's definitely the new era. Put it that way. And we watched it. We were just talking about how back in the day, muskie fishing when I was a kid, you were looking at like an 8.6 rod, like it was huge. And Paul talks about 7-foot rods. And then Thorne Brothers built their base off of longer rods, building custom muskie rods that are longer. And now we're watching the same trend in the ice fishing world. Everything was 32 inches was a long ice rod. Now we're talking 36 is 38, 40, up to 46, and we're not talking lake trout rods. This is bluegill rods.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So to continue that and to give a great title for the episode, Red Lake is usually everybody's first stop to go ice fishing. What rod are you bringing to Red Lake right away in the year?
I've got a couple favorites, and in that lineup, probably the 2B Spoon Daddy has got to be one of my all-time favorites. I love spoon fishing and just light flutter style spoons. Or if I'm going to go hole hopping, which I don't do a whole lot on Red Lake, you wait for them to come to you and you just slaughter them. Then if you're hole hopping, absolutely, I'm going to bring that brand new 45M with me, or the 42, that new Evolution stuff, run around. In the 2B stuff, we've got a dead stick that's phenomenal. Everybody knows Red Lake dead sticking is great. And like I said, that fast drawer Spoon Daddy, love it, gotta have it. If I want to go rattle baiting, then we've got that in the Elliot lineup. The Rippin' Eyes is an unbelievable shorter rattle bait rod, super sensitive, which I like. I can know if the hook's fouled. I know if a minnow head's fallen off, and you know it. That's the big difference that I saw anyways when we started playing with a lot of the Elliot stuff and 2B stuff. Is they're so darn sensitive. You know when that minnow head's off. You know when something's off. And back in the day, I'd just jig right through it like nothing. And then you get lackadaisical, you never reel up. And no wonder you got turned down 6 times there,
Yeah. I'm very guilty of that. I mean, it happens.
Yeah. For the record, we're not going to Red Lake. Thor and I were having this debate recently. He's like, you haven't gone to Red Lake in like 6 years. And I'm like, yeah, it'll be 6 more. Not that I like Red Lake. It's a crazy place right in the beginning part of the winter.
It's wild. It's hard where we live here to not go. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm drilling holes within 40 minutes. So for me, it's like, I catch myself going there. I'm not going to lie. I hang out and beat up on them a little bit.
It's fun, but the thing is like we out around here in North Dakota, we kind of let everybody go to Red Lake because Red Lake's not that far for us either. But to let the cat out of the bag, the Devil's Lake northern basins are usually frozen the same time as Red Lake. So we're sneaking out this way while everybody's going that way. So
I'm waiting for that invite. I could go for a change.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There it is. There's the invite. When Red Lake starts freezing, call Mike.
Yeah,
we'll go to Devils.
Are you telling?
Yeah. What is your go-to technique early ice bait? What do you guys like to? What's the first two presentations you're pulling out of your box to start out?
I mean, the interview's switching around on us now.
Yeah, I mean, so truthfully, in full disclosure, first thing out of the box for me is a 3-inch 4-shot because I'm still chasing pheasants.
No, I'm a rattle bait guy right off the bat. I don't think there's anything better than the rattle bait. But if they don't conform to the rattle bait, then your spoon technique is always right. I was always ready to go right next to me.
No. Yeah. But
there's just something about a jig wrap or a hard bait and a rattle bait that just gets me fired up, especially shallow water walleyes like a Red Lake or these shallow water lakes. When they hit, it's game on. I mean, they're out of the hole like boom right now sometimes because they're coming up so fast and aggressive at it. It's one of my favorite things to do.
No doubt. Yeah, and that's where we have the lineup. Your 2B stuff, you're talking Prospector XL. Under the Elliot, you're talking Rippin' Eyes. And there is that attention to detail. So that's the fun part is it's named Spoon Daddy for a reason. It's your go-to spoon rod. You're gonna pull that thing out, and then when you drop into Rippin' Eyes or Nomad on the Elliot side, it's your rattle bait rods. That's what they're designed for. I like throwing big rattle baits. I don't know if that's a weird thing. A lot of guys pull out the ultralights and things like that. I bring my summer box out and I have no problem throwing a number 7 at them and just ripping.
Big ripping.
I think they react to it. I think sometimes louder is better, especially in a crowd. We talk Red Lake. Yeah. Sometimes you make a little bit of a mess over there. They come check it out. Something different. And a lot of guys don't do that. A lot of guys pull out the gold spoon on Red Lake with a minnow head and just let her go. But you go back to the dead stick that you guys have. That's something that's come full circle as well. Like you always had bobbers, you always had holes right next to you with the bobber. With the dead stick, especially your dead rods like you guys have, it allows you to put that rod a distance away from you and still be able to see everything that's going on with it. Talk a little bit about your guys' dead stick rod. Yeah, it's a 32-inch. It's got bigger eyelets on it. It's designed to be a dead stick. The handle's longer, fits into whatever rod holder style you're going to put it in, whether you're put the reel up higher, slide into a tube style holder or whatever you're looking to do. And it's soft. I mean, it's a dead stick. The big defining moment of it is the larger eyelets. Let that ice come through them. A lot of what I've seen with dead sticks, I ran into trouble with too small eyelets the whole way up. And if it is a rod that you're actually going to set possibly outside the house or off to the side, it's not getting the attention of the heater. It's not getting the attention of you all the time. And there's nothing worse than picking up a dead stick rod, cranking down, and you are froze up.
Right. Yeah, you go down to crank up, and all of a sudden it's like, what is going?
Yeah, drag's burning, and you're making no ground. Yeah.
That's how we almost lost one last year.
Yes. Yep. It's happened for sure. No doubt.
The pike like to grab them and run. And if the ice gets stuck in those eyelets, the rod goes with it.
So unlike last year, this year looks like we're going to have ice shows. Are you guys going to be out and about at the ice shows so people can get these rods in their hands, can talk to you guys personally? I'm assuming you'll be in there, Paul will be in there, all you guys will be in there answering questions, stuff like that. Where are people going to be able to find you guys during this time of the year? Because everybody's getting excited about, we're having people talk to us about it. Are we going to be there? What are we excited about to see? Obviously, one of the best things somebody can do is come put a rod in your hands at one of these shows.
No doubt. And that's the best way. And I think we are going to literally every show. I don't know if there's one that we're not at. So you can come see us at Fargo. You can come see us in St. Paul. You can see us at any of the little ice fests that are going on. And I honestly don't think we're not at one. I think if there's an ice show, I think you're going to be able to see Elliot or 2B at it. And that is the best way. You hit the nail on the head. Come pick them up, check them out. That's the greatest way. I mean, you're going to watch with Elliot that Syncork material. doesn't absorb water, no hand oils, no lotions. And you're talking, I don't know if people can see, but it's just doesn't pick up anything. It's got an awesome finish to it. And on an ice rod, it's phenomenal. And you'll be able to feel that. And it weighs nothing. They're super lightweight, super sensitive. So definitely come pick them up, check them out. That's the best way to go through the lineup. You're going to run into us there. And we'll be able to show you everything. Then you can see the difference between your 2B and your Elliot. You can see what's going to best fit you. And that's the whole key, right? There's so many subtleties, especially with ice fishing getting the way it is it's intense nowadays. It's not just of grabbing this will work for all 5 of my presentations, because there's so much more technology to play with. There's so many more baits to play with, and finding the right fit that's going to do you so much better in the winter time is really wild.
Well, that's a great point. Like, you hear it all the time, is like 10 years ago I had one rod and that's what I ice fished with. But what people don't really understand is the fact that 10 years ago we used spoons and tungsten jigs. You know, I mean, now there's so many different techniques that have come out, which in my eyes, basically, to fish these baits right, require almost a specialized rod for that bait, because you're not going to get everything out of that bait without having the rod to suit that bait. Right. And I think that's why it's so important that with you guys having such a large line all the way across the board, whether it's panfish, walleyes, pike, lake trout, whatever you want to fish, perch, you have something to suit that, a bait that you're going to use for them. And it's maybe not even so much about the fish you're fishing, more probably nowadays about the bait you're using. Because if you're downsizing on a walleye, I'm just going to rant here for a little bit. If you're downsizing walleye fishing and you're going to go down to a tungsten, because believe it or not, I've had many days where I've caught walleyes through the ice on tungsten baits. I'm not using a medium.
Right.
I'm using a medium light or a light even for walleyes if I'm fishing, let's say, Lake of the Woods, where a lot of the fish I'm catching, not that you can't catch a giant on Lake of the Woods, but these rods are good enough now that a lighter rod will handle a bigger fish. And
that really brings in that extra length on those rods too. Because I mean, then it puts a lot of it's just in your hands.
Yeah, I conform more to what I'm using, more to the bait I'm using more than the fish I'm fishing. Now, obviously, you're going to fish a lake trout that is going to give all your gear the test, no matter what you need to have the proper stuff. But a lot of the times it's the size of bait I'm using more than it is the fish that I'm fishing.
Do you change up your line size at all when you're doing that? Like if you're going to downsize?
I'm a firm believer I use the lightest line I can get away with at all times, personally. I like using braid with a lead on it, but it's more, I think, because not only have our rods come a long ways and our electronics come a long ways, our reels have come a long way. So, I mean, you can use lighter lines because of better drags, just different things that you can implement in that allow us, I always call it, to take a step above what we have been doing. You know, like if I used to use 8, I can get away with 4 now fishing walleye, or, you know, that kind of stuff. It's all what you're comfortable in. But I think with the technology we have and all this stuff, it allows you to do those things a little different.
Oh, I think you hit the nail on the head there. What I always bring up that I never really realized until the past couple of years is we think about what you have into your boat. You know what I mean? Your summer boat, right? And we talk about the advancement of technology and how we've gone down the road. Ice fishing has come there the past how many years now? You got the better suits, better houses, everything's thermally insulated. You've got smaller heaters, everything's more compact. You've got different augers now that you're running on drills and things like that, where you're not lunking around a big oil dripper hanging in the back, you know. And the rods and the baits have come along with it. And you're starting to watch the ice fishing sleds set up like your boat in the summertime.
Yeah.
I think back to when I first started walleye fishing and etc. You only had a select couple things, and then the technology got more and more and more. And I have 6 different rigging rods with every single different weight on it for depending if I slide off a brake line, you grab it, go. And ice fishing is there now. And that's the big part that a lot of guys don't pay attention to. And that's like you just stated. 10 years ago, I had a rod that did everything for me. Well, yeah, all I had was a Swedish pimple and a minnow with a split shot, you know. And nowadays, our technology's there, live scopes, panoptic systems. You know, it's booming. The suit lets me stay out there longer. The heater keeps me warm in this insulated thermal house with, you know, and it's all there, and the rods are running with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's really cool because, you know, ice fishing is one of those sports you can get into with very little. You don't got to buy a boat. You don't have to have $10,000 stuck into it. It's a sport that's growing faster and faster all the time. There's more people getting into it. And as people get into it, I mean, yeah, they buy nicer stuff as they get into it and go.
You go as deep as you want to go.
Right.
You can go as deep as you want to go. Just because all the technology's out there doesn't mean you need all of it. But you can have it if you want it.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think of the way my boat's set up, you know. You can go as deep as you want to go. You know, yeah. you can outfit as hard as you want to outfit. And now we're watching that trend with ice fishing. And it was until somebody told me that I finally understood it. And I never even thought of it that way because it's happening in real time. Every single year it gets better and better and better and better. And the anglers are there doing it. I mean, think of how much time you spend on the water, on the ice now to what you did 10 years ago. It's probably double the amount of time because it's easier to do.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, you can have a ice house like we traveled in last year. You can have a snowmobile with a pop-up and go anywhere you want. You can drive your pickup out. And like you said, suits are way better. So a lot of people will have a house, but never even use it hardly because we're so warm in our suits now. I mean, there's however you want to do it. And that's what's probably different than open water. You can be in the comfort of a permanent shack. You can be all the way to outside standing over your hole and keeping your hole open. I mean, it's such a vast majority, just difference from what you can do and how you can experience. And you can have a different experience every single time you go out. I think that's what's really cool about ice fishing. And you see it. There's more and more people getting into it every year. You see the innovation going on in ice fishing. Ice fishing is innovating faster than anything, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
no doubt.
It's just it's really cool to just kind of, in our position, be able to go on the ride and they get to learn and see some of the stuff that's exciting before it's coming out to the public. We get, we're lucky enough to be able to get to see some of this stuff and the things that are coming, the things that are out, the things that we're still trying to process and learn how to use. It's pretty cool, ice fishing in general.
And for anybody that's listening, we were just counting NDAs the other day, so we will not be sharing any of that information until we are legally allowed to. So you can ask, but
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's moving at lightning speed. That's for sure, and that's why you look at the big vast lines of you got 5 different styles of panfish rods. You got everything for your perch, everything for in between, and you're watching the guys come along and buy into that portion because that's what we want to do. If I'm going to go out and chase nothing but big perch, I'm taking a perch rod.
Right.
I'm not going to take my walleye rod and re-spool it with, that's just me, I guess.
Like you said, it's like the boat, right? We've got rod bags now, which you guys have a pretty awesome rod bag.
Yeah.
Go check it out. But we got the rod bags now with, like you said, 2-3 rods for almost every species we're chasing now. So if we're going perch fishing or bluegill fishing, we have our rods kind of set up and our favorites for those. Now, that's being said, you don't have to have that to go perch fishing, to do that stuff. The opportunity is there to specialize yourself in what you were doing.
You go as deep as you want to go.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way of putting it. You go as deep as you want to go. And whether it's electronics or rods or reels or line or baits, and Whatever you want to do, you can do it in ice fishing. I think that's really cool.
You ever bring two exactly identical rods, and the only difference is the color of the jig that's on it?
Yes.
Is it because you hate retying on the ice? Because that's why I do it.
See, Thor is that type of fisherman that's still, we're trying to get him to utilize the things at hand. He enjoys filming fishing.
I do. But I don't know. I mean, it's the same in any type of fishing that I do. I like to bring as many rods as I can with me because I love tying at home, and I hate tying on the water. So if I can rig two rods, and if, say I'm going to go out and I think that, on a rattle bait, it's going to be between two colors. If I have the ability to tie both of those colors up and not have to swap out on the water, I'm going to do that.
Fair enough.
All right. Because it's relaxing and fun to.
I'll bring up one question.
Uh-oh.
When you're on the water, and this is for you, Thor.
Okay.
If you have the full day to be out there, right?
Yep.
And you have a game plan going in, you're going to chase said crappie, right? Said crappie's not biting. Are you going to retie to chase after said largemouth bass or another fish? Or are you going to bring multiple things to chase multiple fish species, etc.? How many times have you hit the water, plan A fails, and you had to lay on plan B, etc.? And that's why you got to bring the whole kit and caboodle.
So interesting.
Or do you just pack it up, head home, jump in the pickup, do a burnout out of the parking lot, mad?
So it all depends on who I'm fishing with. Because I fish with guys who, if they're the captain, we go in with a plan, and we're going to fish that plan until the sun sets, whether it's working or not. I fish with guys like Mike who have to get a TV show. So we are going to fish for whatever's biting if we have to. And it depends on where I am. Like if I'm here in North Dakota, I fully take advantage of the ability to have two rods, and I will, fish rocks for smallmouth bass, but I'll throw a bobber off the other side to catch walleyes off the deeper water. But yeah, so it all comes down to, there's a lot of different variables, but there are definitely the days where I do the burnout.
Thor is for sure the guy that brings 3 rods tied up, and if those 3 rods that are tied up doesn't work, none of them work, he's then taking pictures.
Gotcha. Hey, I wasn't hating on it. I had curiosities, put it that way.
And
it fed right into the how many different approaches can you do, and why do we have so many different rods? Just a different thought.
In the boat, he'll change. On the ice, it's like, no.
It is much harder for me to change courses on the ice than it is.
Right.
100%.
But we couldn't do what we do unless somebody didn't want to fish.
Right.
So I'm totally okay with it.
And the other nice part about being the guy with the camera is when you do fish, you usually catch the biggest fish.
I've heard that many times.
That's because you've been watching us all day long and you understand what not to do.
Yeah, I mean, that for sure helps. But on more than one trip that has happened, I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's watching people.
It's frustrating. I know that.
Yeah. Hey, how do I use your camera? I don't know. How do I hold this big fish?
Somebody take a picture of this thing.
Yeah. And somehow he always gets the best picture.
No, that's not true. I can't hold fish for shit. I am real good at making big fish look small.
So if you could go one place ice fishing this winter, Aaron, where's it going to be?
Wow. Destination wise, or are you talking like dream place, or are you talking where I'm probably going to hide out?
Well, let's go 2 parts with it, because one of my favorite questions to ask people is, it's not what's your favorite lake, it's not what's your favorite species, what's your favorite bite? Because there's that certain technique that works on a certain body of water, and you look forward to it every year, type of thing. And then what would be a dream trip or a dream location?
Okay, I'll start with dream location, and then I'll go into a recent thing that we just have gotten into. Dream location would be if Lake Erie would ever freeze phenomenally. You're going to catch me on an airplane heading out there.
I'll pick you up on the way by because
right, the odds of that happening very low. Global warming, terrible. Jokes, all jokes. Anywho, a bite that I'm probably the most jacked up about is something that we found last winter, and it was chasing around in a basin, running Panoptic systems, was largemouth and smallmouth bass laying out in the mud. And we ran them down, fished individual 2-pack, 3-packs, and caught them really good, actually. Smallies and largies mixed in, and it was a riot. And I'm so darn excited to go back. And it's just small lake stuff, and we're finding so many more smallmouth opportunities starting to pop up through the ice that it's actually exciting. And I would say that that's what I'm looking forward to. And then I'm also going to go sturgeon fishing through the ice this winter.
Ooh,
we're going to go up to Rainy and do it. So
we are too. So maybe we should just do it together.
I'm down.
I have a question for you on the bass fishing. So we've filmed bass a couple times and done the bass fishing. On the bass bite that you're on, is it a put the rod down and you cannot touch it, or are they aggressive?
They're aggressive.
Wow.
They're aggressive. Small tungsten jigs, little tiny hair jigs. And we're using running around outside, running and gunning. And I was actually using the 44 UL. That's the Evolution 44 UL for the listeners. And it's got a ton of backbone in it to handle those smallies when you get into them. And it was a riot. I'm telling you, a riot, because it was just chasing wolf packs of bass. And I never thought I would get so revved up over chasing bass around on the ice. It was super fun. Super fun. And we caught some darn big smallies.
My experience with it's always been, every time we've been bass fishing, is if you touch the rod, like literally touch the rod, they will swim away. So that's really cool. I've never been on a bite where they're aggressive for it. That's really cool.
I wonder if that's the difference between fishing them in rocks and fishing them in the mud.
Could be,
because we've always done it in the rocks.
Yeah, we've always fished rocks for bass. So
yeah, and this is straight mud basin. I mean, no man's land. Everybody talks about chasing out into no man's land. It's not too deep of a basin. I think it's like 26 feet is probably max. A lot of it's 20, 21. And they're just wolf packing out there. And we ran into it randomly and then took another element. Next trip out, we said, okay, we're going to target these things. And we got them. And we got them good. And then we went back, got them good again. And it was like, this is what we're doing.
Nice.
I mean, drill a bunch of holes, chase them, running and gunning, largemouth and smallmouth, which is, in my opinion, not a lot of guys do. And especially finding them in a basin and beating on them a little bit was really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think what people need to key in on what Aaron said was you happened into them, you proved your point, and then you went back and proved it again, right? A lot of people, when they do that they don't go back and because now in your head, in my head, hearing you, you're pretty confident that's a winter pattern type thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to find them, right? And a lot of people, in my mind, don't take that into consideration, because the first time I heard you right, you happened into them the first time.
Yep. First time we were 100%, we were chasing weed edges. And what happened was I got off the weed edge and my good friend came with me. We ran into a small wolf pack, and it was one of those, now that we've learned that they're wolf packs, they're 2s, 3s, 4s. We happened to hit the nail on the head with the first wolf pack, picked them off, and then they were gone. And then that gave us the theory, okay, they're basin cruisers. We went further out, started finding more wolf packs, and just proved it out. All of a sudden it turned out, okay, this is where they're running. Let's see if we can get in front of them. And now with the systems, Panoptics and things like that, we scanned over, you can see them, you get in front of them, and you start working them. And it was really interesting, put it that way.
That's cool. That's really cool. I love when something like that happens. I mean, that's how a lot of good bites happen, and people don't a lot of times understand what they're seeing or doing on the ice, where you guys understood that this could be something, and then you went back and proved that it was something, and then capitalize on it again, and hopefully you'll be able to do it again this year. That's a lot of fun, whether it's bass, walleye, whatever. If people paid attention, it's just it's that fish. Think like a fish.
Right.
That's what I call it. Think like a fish. Aaron has gills back here. Nobody can see him though.
He's got him hiding under the hood.
It's like Waterworld over here. If you ever saw the movie Waterworld. No, it was really cool, and I mean that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. I don't know whether it's because I've fished for everything everywhere for so long that now I get into something like that and it really chirps my trigger. I get excited because it's something I haven't done. It's a fish that I don't think is really targeted through the ice like crazy. And the smallmouth thing was like the new frontier, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what the smallies are made of, and they're made of the same juice they are in the summertime right through the ice, and they're just a little bit fatter. so it got really rowdy. I remember the first one my buddy got, I think it was like an 18, 19 incher. I mean, it was a big one. And when that came up through the hole, we both looked at each other, and it was like light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. We're doing this. All of a sudden, I find myself stocking up on tungsten jigs in this color, and do I need to chase them with a little crawfish blend, or what do I need? These things are out here eating something. What is it? And it just developed from there and really got crazy.
That's awesome. Putting that together, that's pretty cool.
How many different lakes do you think you fish a year?
Wintertime?
You can include both. I'm always kind of curious how many different bodies of water people get onto in a year.
Well, before I have to work like crazy, I used to get on a lot of lakes. Now through winter and summer, I don't know. I would say 20, 25. Probably a safe assessment.
Yeah. I always kind of wonder because, growing up, we went to the cabin. We fished the same lake every weekend. And
I think it's a little different where I live, though. I mean, I throw a stone in any direction, and it's skipping across the pond, and
yeah, I
that really tallies up in a hurry.
I grew up in Park Rapids, so I'm somewhat familiar with. I was still when I was there, but it was even still. We just went to. We either fished the lake that we lived on, or we went to Grandma and Grandpa's cabin in Nevis, and those were the two lakes that we fished.
I grew up fishing all over the place. My grandpa raised walleyes, so we were stocking lakes, we were fishing different lakes, we were doing a little bit of everything. We had one main lake that we went to, but we also went to a lot of other ones. But yeah, it's crazy that we're talking ice fishing.
Yeah,
seems like the summer went by, boom, and here we are talking ice fishing already.
Honestly, what I'm the most impressed about though is that you're actually talking about ice fishing and not deer hunting.
Are you a hunter, Aaron?
I am, yeah.
Okay, then he understands. I am thinking about deer hunting, Thor. I have an addiction to deer hunting as well. I don't know.
I share the same passion. Yeah.
He's been trying to get me to talk fishing for the last 3 weeks, but I've been doing the deer stands and getting the deer shack opened up. Next weekend is already youth season, so I get to go deer hunting with my kids next weekend. Hopefully they get their deer so they don't have to go with me during rifle season. I love you guys, but I'd rather just worry about daddy getting a big buck.
Right, absolutely.
But
ice is coming fast.
And shows are starting. I mean, I want to say first shows are less than a month away.
Right.
So again, first I want to thank you for coming on. And but you make sure you guys check these guys out. There'll be basically all the ice shows. If there's an ice show in your area, there'll be some form of 2B or Elliot rods there, whether you guys have a booth set up or they're there for you to get in your hands. I challenge you guys, because the big thing a lot of people rebuttal on is I don't need these expensive ice rods. No, you don't need. It's the fact that this gives you a leg up on fishing. I always say you have to put advantage fishermen And having a rod with the quality of Elliot or 2B gives advantage fishermen. And that's going to put more fish topside. It's going to put it in your advantage. These guys are going to be, whether it's Sioux Falls, Fargo, Minneapolis, any ice show, they'll be there. Put these rods in your hand. They have a rod that's going to fit your style and fit your need. And I think that's the best thing at all. Do you got anything, Aaron, you want to add before we wrap her up?
No, I mean, that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's all about, and everybody's so different, and that's the key, right? And you're going to find something that is for what you do. And it's not what I say should be done. It's what you do. And let's help you fit the mold of what you're trying to accomplish. And we probably have a rod that it can bring you and your game up. So
the other thing too is I think these guys are open-minded enough. You always get people, I'm sure, that are coming to you and be like, hey, we should have a rod that does this or a rod that does that. And I think
Right.
that's probably a company like you guys, your biggest asset is to listen to your customers. And if
right.
there's
And we have such a wonderful staff that's so knowledgeable. I mean, that's the reason we're on this podcast right now. I mean, great things are to come always. We're gonna raise the bar.
We're excited. We're excited to be a part of what's going on with you guys. We're excited to have you guys with us, and it's going to be an awesome partnership this year. I know that for sure. And yeah, we're just excited for ice to come. I do want to shoot a deer first, so ice don't come too fast, but it can come as soon as deer hunting's over. I am just fine with it. So, but thank you for coming on, Aaron. If you guys have any questions about 2B rods or Elliot, of course, you can ask us, send us your questions. If I don't have the answer, I will get a hold of Aaron and we will get the right answer for you. If not, how do they get a hold of you guys?
twobrotherinnovations.com. So that's now the mothership to everything. So if you go to www.twobrotherinnovations.com, you're going to see 2B, you're going to see Elliot right on the homepage. Click on whatever one's your flavor. Going to bring you to the same central hub. Hit up our customer service. I'll answer a question, whatever you got. Run into us at a show, and hopefully we have an answer for you.
Absolutely.
And we will also link that in the description on YouTube.
Somewhere in here.
No, it'll be on the bottom in the description.
Down there.
Yeah. I can't click on the video, so putting the link there makes it harder.
So I appreciate you coming on, Aaron. I think it's going to be an awesome matchup this year with Fish Addictions and Elliot and Two Brothers Innovations. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get going. I can't believe we're talking ice fishing. It's pouring rain outside right now. It hasn't rained all year, and now it's raining on us.
Right.
But we'll take it.
Good for your food plots.
Yeah. That are already dead. But I appreciate it, man. Take it easy, and I'm sure we'll run into you again.
No doubt. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
It's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Bye-bye.
So that was Aaron Templin with Two Brothers Innovations. And I'm really excited to run their stuff and to just get to know the lineup a little bit better, because we dabbled in it last year. It was some of my favorite rods I used. And we took a year off last year and really used a lot of different rods. And there was a lot of great rods out there, but that lineup fit me as a fisherman the way I fish and my style the best.
And they have really cool merch.
You like that sweatshirt he was wearing?
I mean, that one, the Elliot hats.
Aaron, get Thor a sweatshirt.
Well, I want the hat, the Elliot hat. I mean, absolutely a sweatshirt too, but the Elliot hats. They just have good merch.
That's important.
Yeah. And we're working on getting good merch of our own.
Hey, speaking of merch, hats, shirts, all that stuff, get over to the Fish Addictions website. We've gotten a lot of grief because we'll call it revamping it, so it hasn't been around.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many people actually buy our stuff.
Yeah. And we're working on coming up with some new lineups for some fun stuff. I actually came up with a new shirt idea while you were talking to Aaron.
Oh boy.
And I think it's gonna be a good one.
If there's something you want to see in the Fish
mathematical.
Addictions lineup, let Thor know.
Yeah.
Text him. I'm gonna put your phone number out for everybody.
My phone number's out, but send me a DM on Instagram. It's easier.
Well, guys, that's gonna be a wrap for Fish Addictions, the Real Talk. it's crazy that we're back. We're back at it. We're going to try to be consistent about this again, like we were last year, going into winter.
It's season 2.
Yikes.
And simultaneously season 7.
Season 7? I always say 8.
Oh, 8.
Well, it's 7, but the first, I'm partial. I was part of the very first, the Ninja season, remember? When we self-filmed. That wasn't part of the seasons.
Season 7.
You always forget about it.
Well, I always just go off of the hard drives that Tyler sends me. But that's, wild. So season 2 of the podcast and season 8 of the show.
Guys, let us know what you want to hear about on the podcast, who you'd like to see us interview and get on. Obviously, Thor and I do a lot of BS and back and forth, talk about our trips, do that kind of stuff. And like we alluded to in the beginning of the season, or beginning of the podcast. It was the beginning of the season, right?
Beginning of season 2.
So we're going to be doing some crazy things with Fish Addictions this year. We're going to be taking this on the road. We talked about the pickup camper. We're going to be dabbling in the pickup camper.
Sounds dirtier than it is.
I think it's going to be a real thing. Like, I'm putting a pickup camper in the Super Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's people out there laughing right now, thinking about you and I crammed into a pickup camper. No. No.
I am wondering how we're going to do the podcast in there. I know we got to.
Oh, we're doing it.
I'm aware that we're doing it. It's just the logistical aspect of it, because we did get a new mixer so we can bring the podcast on the road with us. And it's certainly going to be fun.
And just like always, we want to know where you guys want to see us go this winter.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people talk about places like Cascade and just far away areas, which isn't out of the question. We're going to be doing some pretty cool things this winter, and we're going to really ramp it up a little bit. Our big thing is we want to travel further, stay longer, and
I really want to go to Michigan.
Up to the UP.
I don't know. I don't know anything about ice fishing in Michigan, so I'm hoping that there's somebody listening that can feed us some ideas, whether it's somewhere that you want to see us fish to try to help you figure it out, or if it's somewhere where you think we're going to have a lot of fun.
And one big thing that maybe people don't know about is we've revamped the way Fish Addictions looks.
Mm-hmm.
So in years past, we've always had a staff, and those are the guys we fished with. It's great guys, still going to fish with them. But this year we don't have a staff. We have contributors. Those guys are still helping out with Fish Addictions in some way, shape, or form. All really good friends. Nothing happened as far as that goes. It's just we're going to travel a lot more and do a lot more things and fish with a lot more people and really open ourselves up. So if you're looking and watching this right now and you're like, man, it'd be fun to go fish with Mike and Thor, text us. I'm not promising you we'll go with you, but we want to go meet as many people as possible. I want to call it the Fish Addictions Tour. Can we call it that?
Yes.
The Fish Addictions Tour. We're going to
working on logos tomorrow.
We're touring the ice belt. We're jumping on the ice with this person, and 2 days later with this person. I mean, that's the goal. Is we're going to tour the ice belt. We're going to fish with as many people as can, make as much content as we can, do our show, do this. We're going crazy. We're going to need lots of coffee. We're going to need lots of donuts. No donuts.
I mean, I'm going to eat a lot of donuts, but I don't need a lot of donuts.
I put 15 pounds after I lost that 60 pounds. I put 15 back on. The steak sound all right?
Yes.
I'm a meat guy.
Eat a lot of steak.
I'll eat
jerky.
So we're going to be eating steaks in the pickup camper.
I was just trying to think about ways that we could cook steaks while we were driving so we didn't have to stop and get gas station food. I don't know.
I throw you in the pickup camper while I'm driving. You cook in the pickup camper while I'm driving down the road. And then you can call me when the steaks are ready. We can pull over, eat them, and then go again.
I don't know if you want to eat the steaks that I cook. I will admit I am not good at cooking steak. You can teach me a lesson.
I think we did just find out what this year's season's going to call. It's the Fish Addictions Tour. Right? Did I hit?
Fish. Some variation of the word tour is going to happen.
I don't even know what's going on right now, but every time I look at the camera, it's like
Your hat's just a little crooked.
I'm just tired. It's been a long summer.
Yeah, it has been a long summer.
Hey,
Yes,
we qualified for the national championship for the AIM Pro All Series.
did.
Pretty excited about that.
I like being included in that we. I don't know if I was, but I'm going to pretend I was.
You were part of it. You were there. I mean,
for,
you're not
for anybody
fishing it.
that maybe didn't know, Mike and I guess, traveled around the state of Minnesota this year fishing the AIM National Walleye Tour.
Well, I fished it with a few other people, and
Yep.
you were there at every one filming it.
I caught 0 walleyes.
I caught a few walleyes.
Mike caught a few walleyes. And it's something that we're really looking forward to about next year.
National championship.
Yeah, because of the national championship. And then
And I just saw something the other day that AIM was going to come out with like a big twist on their schedule for next year. So
I hope there's a mystery lake.
that would be kind of fun and weird at the same time.
I hope they send out an email on like Thursday.
like 3 days before the tournament, like
Yeah.
at midnight, Wednesday night at midnight,
Yep.
you get a 11:59. You get an email saying where the lake's going to be.
Give you enough time so that because not everybody is from Minnesota that fishes it. So give everybody enough time to get there. And yeah.
That'd be interesting. No, it was a lot of fun. It was different than the National Walleye Tour, but the AIM tournaments are a lot of fun. The turnouts are great. 100 boat fields are not uncommon. 70 plus boat fields anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we qualified. We did fairly well this year. I admittedly lost a fish on Leech Lake that would have put us top 5, and I'm still haunted by it a little bit.
But you did catch a unicorn on Mille Lacs.
I did catch a 30-incher on almost 31-incher on Mille Lacs.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was really
And
awesome.
then a boat 100 yards away from us caught it the second day. Same mark, same everything. Same fish,
Same fish.
different. Same tournament.
Yeah.
That was the same tournament.
Yeah. Literally the next day. And that really goes to show how impactful doing
can be.
the catch and release specifically, because if you guys would have caught that fish again the next day, that would have been huge.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool to see, and I'm really looking forward to what we have going on this year. There will definitely be more giveaways this year.
Ooh, we got a lot of giveaways. We got stuff packing the shelves that we're giving away to people.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, what's up this year? We got Mr. Heater stuff.
Yep.
We got obviously the Eskimo stuff, the Elliot 2B stuff. We've got Garmin stuff.
Warrior
We've got
boat.
running stuff.
There's not a warrior boat. I just
No, we're not giving away a warrior boat. Thor's been trying to do something like that forever. No, we are not there. Not even close. But again, we're going to wrap this thing up. But please do take the time to think about people you'd like to see on this podcast, where you'd like to see us fish, the things that you guys as the people that take in our content would like to see. Maybe you'd like to see us off the air. Tell us, whatever. Maybe you'd like to see us go to Lake of the Woods like we do it once a year. And we'll probably end up there in some fashion or form or whatever. There's a crazy perch bite that's going on up there that I'd like to kind of
I've been seeing a lot of crappies
dial
caught
in.
lately.
Crappies again. But just where you guys would like to see us, what you'd like to see us do. We want your opinions because it matters.
It
We
does.
come up with some crazy ideas of things that we'd like to do, but we'd like to implement the places and the things you guys would like to see in the show for what we do. Again, we are not on Fox Sports North again this year. We made that decision. Honestly, a great decision on our part. And I do want to say that can we say the number of views that we ended up getting between all platforms last year? We don't even need to. It was awesome. You guys were supportive.
Phenomenally supportive.
Phenomenally. Yeah. How do you say it?
Phenomenally. The number was huge.
Huge. Yeah. And again, it's not just YouTube. It's Outdoor Action TV. It's
Carbon TV.
Carbon. It's Waypoint. It's
Keys Outdoors.
KO TV. I mean, we're everywhere. We're putting our stuff everywhere so you guys can see it. And thank you for your support. We're excited to start another season. Another season of Fish Addictions TV will not be coming out. We're starting it here. We'll call this the introduction to season 7 of Fish Addictions TV on Fish Addictions, The Real Talk.
Season 2.
Season 2. So thank you guys, but we're out. And we look forward to communicating with you guys again. Communicate with us. Let us know what you want. That's it. Season 2, Fish Addictions, The Real Talk, Episode 1.